Hey, welcome to
Hello
Escape
there.
Reality Star Wars Talk. Sorry, I was having a mic issue there.
Yeah.
But this is our new little transitional setup for the show. Um, we're trying something new because
Yep.
we pre-recorded today, and I
Yeah.
just felt like trying something different. Let us know if you like it. That's our new logo. Just so we had a logo, but of course we're still looking for a better logo. But that's our logo, just so we have something to present to the world. Hey, this is our podcast.
Mhm.
Um, I think it fits for us a little bit
Yeah.
at the moment. Obviously, I would like something with a little bit more Star Warsy flair, but it's got the Loth Cat. It's got the Loth
Yeah.
Cat, so it's not completely without Star Wars merit. Um,
Excuse me.
and so, yeah, that's just our intro for a while. Anyways, I think we'll stick with that. Just let us know if you like it, because if you do, we'll keep doing it, and we'll find new ways to do it. We might not play the same song every time using the lo-fi, you know,
Yep.
type music, but because eventually I also want us to have our own little intro. That'd be cool. Um, Even if it's like a 30-second intro, some podcasts have a nice little intro, and that'd be nice for us to get to that point.
Mhm.
Um, so yeah, just comment what you thought. Do you like the logo? Do you like the intro? Let us know. We are pre-recorded this week because I'm going to a wedding on the day
Yep.
of. I'm probably not there right now when the show is live, because I'm assuming when the show is live.
Mm.
So I'm probably not there right now, but I'm probably getting ready to go. Um, I'm probably trying to figure out what I'm gonna wear because it's Justina's wedding.
Mhm.
So from Mopcast Network,
Okay.
our friends, and they put it's casual, or it's like they put wear something you're comfortable in.
Mm.
Like it's not gonna be like dress like you normally would think, like a tuxedo and stuff. Maybe I'll dress a little bit more like Scotty's going tuxedo, but he's not staying for like the drinking and stuff because Scotty doesn't really drink. Um, Whereas I, on the other hand, might stay a little bit more for that stuff. Um, I might do like maybe slacks and a nice polo is what I'm thinking. I haven't really decided. But yeah, that's probably what I'm doing at the moment of when this is on in the air. Um, so this week there's no Star Wars news, so I think we're just gonna jump
Yeah.
right into the main topic.
Okay.
Um, so
So.
this week we read Star Wars: The High Republic: Path of Deceit. I'm gonna tell you now what we always do for our show. It's spoiler warning. So if you're new here, we do spoiler reviews of Star Wars stuff,
Mhm.
and so we're just giving you the warning now. Spoilers for Path of Deceit. If you don't want to be spoiled and you want to check out the book, I recommend it. Go ahead and check it out.
Go do
And
that first.
yeah, and then come back, come talk and basically do some spoiler chat with us, because
Because
there's a lot to talk about.
we don't hold much back
Yeah,
here.
we basically give a full on synopsis. Like
Yeah.
I feel like I'm Wikipedia. Like you could take my synopses for Star Wars books and just make it a Wikipedia article for
Mm.
that book. Maybe not completely because I do forget things, but like 90% of what I say, it's like you could just.
Usually, then it's the Wikipedia article accompanied by like one of my like side tangents.
But yeah, so that's your spoiler warning. We're gonna jump into it.
Yep.
Uh, so Path of Deceit. Oh,
Oh man.
a lot happens. So to start off, we meet this hyperspace. What was the word
Prospect.
prospector whose nickname is Sunshine.
Yep.
It's not his real name. I forget his real name. I just call him Sunshine at this point.
Sonny Dobbs.
Sonny Dobbs.
His last name is supposed last name is Dobbs.
I think that's correct. Yeah.
D-O.
Yeah. I'm just. It's Radicaz Dobbs.
Yeah, fuck that. We're calling you Sunshine.
Yeah, we're calling you Sunshine. That's so much easier. Which another key thing going on, and it's something that's written in like the little opening
Yep.
crawl for the book, is that Iriadu's at war, which is
Iriad-
not new to
is
us.
not Eriadu.
Not Iriadu. Sorry.
Is Erono.
It's
and
Iram.
Iram,
Iram. Yeah, Iram and
who
Arono.
you may recognize from, I think, the first High Republic book we read,
Not yeah, from yep.
is the one where
Yeah,
Orla Jaretti
Into the Dark.
and Comac Vistas had a hostage situation go on
Yeah, because
in the future.
well, yeah, because it turns out that like this planet is just these two planets are always at each other's throats.
Yeah.
Which is something that was mentioned in the High Republic in Into the Dark. It's Into the Dark. It's like this is the end of that. We're
Yep.
finally done with this, you know, Hatfields and McCoy bullshit.
Yep.
That's basically what the Iram Arono stuff is. It's
Yeah.
yeah. They're like, we're done with this bullshit.
It had gone on so long they forgot.
Why they were Once again, Hatfields and McCoy's bullshit. It's like we don't even know why we're fighting. So sorry. Dobbs is from Iriadu, which is also a dangerous place though.
Yes.
That explains actually a lot of the cutthroat ways of Sunshine later on in the book actually. Now that I think about it, I'm like that actually adds up.
It is weird how
Cuz Iriaduans are
they don't fuck around.
yeah, they are I mean we talked about it before cuz they were brought up in Light of the Jedi cuz they also did not fuck around in that book.
Yep.
They
And they
are the
and they stay not fucking around.
yeah. They are what gave us Grand Moff Tarkin. Tarkin is Iriaduan.
Yep.
So when that man is the symbol of Iriaduan culture, that should give you an idea that yeah, you don't fuck with Iriaduans. Cuz then you'll find out. Did you ever want to find out? Fuck with an Iriaduan.
Might be the last thing you ever do.
Well, that's why you find out.
Mm.
You fuck around, you find out. But yeah, so Sunshine is basically this hyperspace prospector who's really only found one main lane, but it's one that only he knows about. And currently he's on a job coming on his pleasure yacht called the Scupper.
Mm-hmm.
And it's such a great name for a pleasure yacht.
Scupper.
The Scupper.
The funny thing about it is, like, just he's like, yeah, it looks kind of old, but it's also got all these secret panels fucking everywhere.
Yeah, it's basically the Millennium Falcon, but as a pleasure yacht.
Yeah. And
which Lando kind of has that as well. He's got a pleasure yacht ship as his ship.
the general thing is, like, it's left kind of dirty.
On purpose.
On purpose.
It's basically, you don't expect it if it looks this way, but it's got all these secret updates that I've done. Like, he's basically, it's when somebody drives a junker car, but they put, like, NOS systems into it secretly, and
Yeah.
that's basically what he did.
Yeah. So there's that.
But he's coming back because he took a job for the Path of the Open Hand, which is this cult.
Yeah.
Specifically for Alicia, who is also known as the Mother.
She's sort of like the boss of.
Yeah, she's your
cult leader.
Yeah,
Let's
your
call
basic
it- let's
cult
call
leader.
it
I was
what it
I was
is.
trying to give like an example. I the names of cult leaders just dropped from my mind just as I was about to name one. David whatever from the. Yeah, I can't remember now. David Koresh. That was the one I was going to name
Right.
off the bat. It's your David Koresh and those type of leaders. It's the really passionate leaders that people believe in that are like, oh, you've got, like, I trust you because you're very charismatic.
Mm.
In this case, though, the Mother has a little bit more than charisma on her side.
Yeah.
She also has the Force.
Yep.
But basically, Sunshine's coming back because he was hired to bring some Force artifacts
She hired
back.
him to go steal some shit.
Which they already do, but this was for a specific Force artifact.
Yeah.
Was he the? They had already. I'm trying to remember. He didn't bring the rod. He brought just the the egg.
I think so.
Yeah, because there's also the rod.
Yeah. Yeah, I believe the rod was already stolen.
Yes. So
Or, in the terminology the path uses,
liberated. Rod of Seasons.
Yep.
Is the one I'm thinking of. The Rod of Seasons is basically this item that we'll talk about more of what it does. We've actually seen it before, as we realized later as the book went on. We were like, oh yeah, we've seen this.
Mm-hmm.
We had a lot of those moments of, oh yeah, we've seen this before.
I know what this is.
That's the benefit of reading this,
This might
after
as well
phase.
be High Republic Origins.
Yeah, well, and it's supposed to be. This is our prequel trilogy. So like so phase 1 was our original trilogy, Star Wars. Phase 2 is our prequel trilogy, Star Wars, and then phase 3 will be our sequel trilogy, Star Wars. And phase 1 is supposed to really phase 2 is going to explain a lot of what we know about phase 1, but also fill in the blanks enough that, because I view this as, because remember at the end of phase 1, Yoda's like, hey, we need to go to the past to figure out our future.
Mm-hmm.
And this, I view us reading this as at the same time as them reading this.
Okay.
Like, they're going back into their history text and going, okay, what did we miss? And then Yoda and them are filling in the blanks going, oh, this happened in history. Well, what happened to this person that we knew? Oh, this happened. That explains this. And so as we're making the connections, I imagine Yoda and them in the present, or at least in the present of the story, also figuring out the blanks that we're figuring out.
Yeah.
So, like, it's kind of why I originally had predicted that phase 2 would be both in the past and in the present, but I'm wrong. And I'm fine with being wrong in this case, because I kind of like what they're doing with it. But I imagine I had originally thought that when they said, oh, we're going 150 years back, I figured, oh, we were still going to get stories that are continuing the story while also getting the flashbacks. But no, we're just getting pure prequel stuff. But back to the main story. So yes, he provides this, they call it a stone at this point in the story.
Mm-hmm.
They just call it a stone.
Yeah.
And she basically wears it as a necklace.
Mm-hmm.
And so he takes a small chunk out of his fee, because he's starting to fall for her, as well as also be manipulated by her through the Force.
Yep.
Because
that's more of an ongoing, like, a debate between me and you.
I think there's a lot of stuff to prove that that's what's going on, though. There's a lot of evidence to say that that's what's happening.
Yeah.
I think this is a case of using your deductive reasoning, along with just kind of reading between the lines, where the author knows we're smart enough to figure out what's going on without telling us outright that this is what's going on. Because basically, the reason that you can essentially figure out that that's what's going on without them saying it is he asks to stay on, which that's normal so far, but then he almost forgets to say with a finder's fee. And he thinks back on it, and he's like, oh, I almost forgot to say that with the finder's fee. And it's like, that's something that you don't just forget about when you're somebody like Sunshine. Yeah. The Force manipulated him, and so he almost forgot because the Force was busy manipulating him. Because we talked about this out while we were reading it. You related it to what Mother was doing to being similar to what Emery does with his little empath abilities. I'd say it's not quite empath. I'd say it's more like a Force mind. I'd say it's more like a mind trick.
Yeah,
is really what it's more like, which a lot of Jedi can do, because it's similar to what it's similar to how our favorite boy Elzar Mann says that mind tricks work. It's really just, if you're doing it right, you're just pushing what's already there. You're not actually forcing them to do something. You're just giving it a little extra nudge where you're going, yeah, you're already thinking this. Let me just.
Mm-hmm.
And that's basically what Mother did. Mother
Yep.
just was like, oh, you already want to stay because you like me. I'm just going to push that emotion a little bit more to where you definitely are staying.
Yeah. And he's like, yeah, sure. Just pay me when.
Pay me a finder's fee.
That's it.
Basically, he stays on retainer.
Yep.
And so, as on retainer, he does a, we'll come back to it because he has another mission later on. And
he is also important to the plot.
Yes. So let's meet our other characters, Marta and Yana, who are the Rose of this story.
Mm-hmm.
They are definitely way different than Markion.
Yeah.
Like, we discussed that. I feel like Markion is definitely evil.
Yeah.
Whereas Marta and Yana are a little bit less so.
Yeah.
They're more of just people in bad situations.
Mm-hmm.
Mother is the real villain of this story. In case it wasn't obvious.
That woman has to go.
Um,
I don't usually come for like someone's throat like that, but that lady has to go now.
That's not true. You went for Markion's throat pretty bad.
Like, what's up with Seth? Enemy sighted. All right, take him out now.
But
no chance of redemption ever.
let's talk about Yana's role first,
Yeah,
because Yana
is one of
the children,
also known
as the thieves.
as the thieves for the open hand.
Because
they
liberate Force artifacts.
Yeah.
Because part of the Path of the Open Hands beliefs is that they believe in the Force, but they believe that the Force should not be actively used. Now, if the Force decides to give you a vision, that's fine, because that's what the Mother does all the time, or at least claims to do. We don't know how true these visions are. It's really hard to tell. Like, I feel like some of these visions,
70% sure that's bullshit.
like,
but I don't have the evidence.
Because I think she does have visions. I think she just lies about the interpretations of those visions.
Yeah, that's possible. I'm over here like, we know Force users can have visions, and that is a thing. However, we also know that not all Force users get them.
We also know that actively seeking out visions makes Force users go mad.
Yeah.
Which is why, like, Force users, why the Jedi generally frown upon it, at least by the time of the prequel era. By the time we get out of the High Republic era, they're kind of like, hey, you shouldn't believe in Force visions and prophecies because they're a little bit of a gray area. Like, this is Master and Apprentice talk. We'll talk about that when we really want to talk about that book so badly. We brought this book up so many times.
What I'm about to say isn't related to that book. So, for those of you who don't know, I have a thing about prophecies in fiction.
Yep.
And about how they're fucky to begin with.
Even more so when they're Jedi.
Yeah. And that it doesn't really matter if you try to stop it or start it because of how stories work.
I mean, also in Star Wars, they kind of tell you, hey, they literally tell you the future's always in motion. Just because you have a vision doesn't mean that's exactly what's going to happen.
Yeah.
It's one of those things of, it's actually kind of the opposite of most Greek tragedies, even though it follows the path of a Greek tragedy. Usually, like in Star Wars follows the path of a Greek tragedy, especially the prequels. The prequels is a Greek tragedy. Because it's literally vision. We never see the person have the vision, but we know the vision exists. And then, actually, no. It is the case, especially Revenge of the Sith. Anakin has a vision, and then actively tries to avoid that vision, which causes the vision.
Yeah.
So straight up a Greek tragedy. But even in that film, Yoda's like, hey, just because you saw somebody die in your dreams doesn't mean they're gonna die. Don't worry about it. The problem is he keeps worrying about it.
Mm-hmm.
So it's kind of the opposite of a Greek tragedy still, because Greek tragedies generally say no matter what, you're that future's going to happen no matter what you do. Whereas Star Wars says, no, this isn't a case of predeterminism. This isn't a case of predeterminism. This is a case of you still have open choices, but your choices can lead to a predetermined ending, but they don't have to. So, yeah. Visions, especially in Star Wars, are very fucky.
Yeah.
Because of that. Because there is no predeterminism in Star Wars. Which is why it's very ironic when certain characters claim for predeterminism to exist in Star Wars. Because literally everything proves to the contrary of that. Which is actually what the Path of the Open Hand kind of believe. They kind of believe in predeterminism without believing in predeterminism.
You don't have to add the pre-suffix to the word determinism.
Oh, okay.
Sorry, there was no need for that correction.
But yes. Well, by predeterminism, I mean, like, because it has to do more with visions, because usually when you're talking visions, you add the pre-suffix usually. But yeah, like, it...
These fucking cultists.
But yeah, they believe in they believe in determinism to a degree because they're like, yeah, if you use the Force, then
if you actively
use the Force, then something else will happen, butterfly effect style.
Yeah.
And it's like, no, that's not how the Force works.
It's the way that they frame it is even if you do something good now, something bad will happen later because you did something good now.
Yeah.
And this is one of the rare instances where you and I agree about something related to the Force.
We're like, that's not how the Force works.
That's not how it works.
That's not how it works at all. Because I guess we'll get to it when we get to the Jedi characters. We'll come back to this conversation. But yeah, so Yana is one of the children who liberate Force artifacts. Because basically they believe that if we take the Force artifacts away from other Force-using groups, we prevent them from using these.
And therefore prevent problems later.
Correct. Or at least that's the story the mother tells. In reality, she is secretly probably using them.
And Yana
is
doesn't give a fuck about that.
Yeah, Yana kind of
she just wants.
Yana sees through it.
Yana's like, I just want to take my girlfriend and get the fuck out of here.
Yeah, because she is dating the Herald, who is like the second in command.
No, she's not dating the Herald.
Well, hold on. Well, the Herald's daughter. I was gonna get there. Sorry. I meant to add.
That's a very confusing thing.
I meant to add plural to that. I meant to or apostrophe s. I meant to add ownership. I meant to say the Herald's comma, or the Herald's comma. Daughter. Yeah, I was gonna like explain who the Herald was after the comma, and then say daughter after that. Anyways, she's dating the Herald's daughter, which the Herald is the essentially the second in command of the Path of the Open Hand, and so. Core is the name of that character that she's dating. And basically Yana sees through it. She's like, I see through this bullshit. Because she's an Everini. Because let's not forget the Rose are Everini. And we talked about the history of the Everini. They got some traumatic history.
Yeah.
Basically, long story short, for those who missed our discussion on the Everini history, which was in our High Republic Volume 3 discussion, because that's where the Everini history was discussed. They basically had on their homeworld, they started infighting, first off. Because originally they were very peaceful, but then they started betraying each other and war happened.
Yep.
And then they were like, well, we can't trust anybody. Because originally they were like, we can't trust each other. And to the point that they basically they basically nuked their homeworld.
Yeah.
To the point of like where everybody Supermaned out of there and was like, okay, we can't live here anymore. But then because of their distrustful nature, they would then they would join other groups of like settlers and then not trust those people and betray them, which got the Republic involved and going, hey, what the fuck? and attacking them, and then they got a victim complex because they were like, "Why is the Republic attacking us?" It's like
Because they didn't understand that being a betrayal is not the general.
world galaxy view.
Yeah.
It's not the general galaxy view of, "Hey, betrayal is fine." No, 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 no. Betrayal is not fine.
Yeah.
But the Everini think it is because of just their
Just because
traumatic
of how
history. The
shit was completely fucked for them.
yeah, it's trauma.
Yeah.
And so
Never trust anyone ever, said the Everine.
generational trauma.
Yeah.
That's what I was looking for. Everini have generational trauma, and to the point of then the Jedi got involved, and now the Everini don't trust Jedi at all.
Yep.
So Yana and Marta are part of this group because they don't trust Jedi, and also they feel it's safe because they're in the Outer Rim where there's not really a Republic presence, although the Republic is starting to move out there.
And Yana is
still
different to Marta.
Yeah, Yana
in
is
that Yana is old enough to remember how they got.
Yeah,
to the
she
path
remembers
of the open hand.
Yeah, she remembers the generational trauma more. She carries that weight, and
She saw her parents die.
yeah. So like she
So
carries
that they
that
could
weight.
get
Yeah,
there.
she carries that weight, and she's like, I don't trust anybody, not even my girlfriend. Whereas Marta, on the other hand, is a little bit more trusting. She's to a fault.
Marta has
Marta's so trusting that the mother won't let her into the inner circle.
Yeah.
She's like, you are too innocent and naive to be in the inner circle because you would not steal for us if you knew that we were stealing.
Yep. She's like, God damn it, I have one of the most loyal followers.
But I can't bring her into the
unfortunately-
inner circle. Because as soon as she's brought in the inner circle, she'll see the truth. That's the problem.
That's the problem.
And so that's Yana and Marta.
Yeah.
Marta essentially gets stuck with watching the littles, which are the younglings of the path. And so, which actually there is a youngling, there's a little that we know. Tromac.
Many years will go by
150 years, in fact.
before we next see Tromac.
Yeah. You know, the leader of that group that had motherfucking cricks.
Yep.
But which now adds up to the puzzle piece of, okay, so why is there this group that just instinctually doesn't trust Jedi? And instinctually doesn't like the Force?
Yeah.
Because that's what that group that Tromac is part of. When we meet them in the first phase, we learn about this group that doesn't trust Force users to the point that one of their own, Zine, essentially gets kicked out because she uses the Force.
Yeah.
And now we know, now we've put the pieces together of, oh, Tromac was raised by the Path, which also didn't believe in Force users actively using the Force. So now 1 + 1 = 2. And now we see why also that they're related to the Nihil as well. Which we knew that the Nihil was kind of working with Tromac's group. Because Tromac was like, yeah, the Nihil are here to save us. Even though it looks like they were here to attack us. Because the Rose are already like a long family friend at this point to Tromac.
Yeah.
So it all adds up now. So that's the benefit of going through phase 1 and then seeing phase 2. Obviously, I think also phase 2 works in that you could do phase 2 first and not read phase 1.
Yeah.
Like if you wanted to go into this chronologically, I'd say you could. You would, once you hit phase 1, you'll have more knowledge than we will going into it, and it'll be interesting. Whereas we're having more of this, oh, now we're putting puzzle pieces together insight for phase 1. Because we've read phase 1, and phase 2 is more of just like clicking the puzzle.
Yeah.
So that's the Rose. Marta takes care of the littles, and basically that's her assignment because that's the only, because since she's
they don't know what else to do with her.
And it works out in their benefit too, because with her raising the youngest of their group, she is also indoctrinating them for them.
Scott, fucking hard line conviction.
Yeah, exactly. And so when we were introduced to them, we learned that besides getting that little jewel from Sunshine, Mother also recently got the Rod of Seasons from the children, Yana and Kor and Trez.
Trez.
Who is like another of the
Like Trez is noted among like the children for just being like, yeah, how about I just fucking kill this guy?
yeah. What's his long? What is he? Is Trez just for short?
I think it's just Trezzy.
Am I spelling something wrong?
Treze.
Oh, okay, Treza. Although they say Trez a lot in like they just shorten it a lot. Yeah, it's just Trez. The E is silent. Um, and he's a Mickean, which I don't remember what that looks like. Oh,
It's the same race as Zine, isn't it?
Yes. Yeah, because they mentioned the head tendrils, and he's got the pink. He's got the pink skin look.
But yeah.
But yeah, so that's our main children that we'll be looking at for most of the book. And so moving on kind of to the main point of the story though.
Yeah.
We are then introduced to our Jedi who are on Donna. As this is all on Donna, by the way.
Yeah.
We forgot to say that. Donna, which, you know, because they bring up the ice skaters at one point.
Fucking how do they work?
And so these Jedi come to Donna looking based. So they're there for a couple reasons.
Yeah.
They're there to establish that this Jedi presence on the Outer Rim, but they're also there to look for the Rod of Seasons because
a bunch of
artifacts are being stolen.
Yeah.
But this is the most recent one. And so they're like, oh, we're going to look for it. And, you know.
Yeah, they get assigned to this after helping out dealing with some land sharks.
Yeah. So it's Kevmo Zink and his master, Zala Macri.
Yes.
And so Master Zala and Kevmo are assigned to go to Donna to investigate what's going on. And they've heard about the path, kind of.
Yeah.
They get more information from the local sheriff's Zink.
They also have a Jedi buddy who helped them with the sharks, but they won't be relevant for a long time.
Yeah. Yeah.
And they ask them to come with them, but he's like, no, at least one of us needs to stay here in case something goes wrong.
Yeah. And so Kevmo immediately, we're going to kind of just jump to the main plot points, really. Because, like I said, I want you guys to read this. There's a lot more, like, smaller bits, but we're just going to get the main chunks here. And, well, first off, let's talk about the fact that, because it's during this part, really, where Sunshine goes off on a mission real quick for Mother. Goes on a secret mission. I don't think we really learned what this mission specifically is. We just know that it's another artifact-looking mission, essentially.
Yeah.
And basically, before he goes on this mission, though, he says, "Hey, I got to do a quick thing, and then I'll be off." Right? He's like, "I got to take care of my own business real quick, then I'll be good to go." So he goes.
I have some personal priorities, Mother.
Yeah.
I have to take care of it.
So he goes off to this cantina, where that's also like a casino, essentially.
Yeah.
A lot of cantinas are also like places where you can gamble.
Yeah.
And so he plays a few hands of sabacc, where he starts to lose because he's pretending to be drunk while he's waiting on this informant from the RDC to show up.
Yeah.
That's Republic Defense Coalition, for those of y'all new, which is basically the army for the Republic, but also not.
Yeah.
It's more like the Peace Corps.
Yeah.
It's more like the Peace Corps, where it's like they do military actions, but they tend to just do more police action than anything.
Yeah.
And so it turns out that it's a Santeca.
Mm-hmm.
And the Santeca finally shows up, and he's like,
All right,
all
come
right.
on. You gotta go home.
Yeah,
You had too much.
he leans into it, and he's like, "Yeah, you've had too much to drink. Let's go. I'll get you home." And he takes him to this back alley behind it, where finally Sunshine's like, "Okay, I'm not drunk. Took you long
okay,
enough.
I can drop the act.
Yeah, I can drop the act. Took you long enough. I lost so much money waiting, but thankfully, what you're about to give me is going to be worth more than what I lost."
Yeah.
Because it turns out that he is being given these hyperspace routes that the Santecas have discovered that they've given to the RDC, but aren't public yet.
Yeah.
And so Sunshine's like, "Oh, okay, cool. Let me take a look at that data disk and see what's on it, and then I'll give you your payment, and we'll be good to go."
Mm-hmm.
He looks at it, and he's like, "All right, they don't have my hyperspace route on there. We're good to go." Shoots him.
Yep.
Goodbye, Santeca.
One body count.
Yeah.
So far.
And so it turns out that Sunshine was just making sure that they didn't have the hyperspace route to his little, what he calls his paradise. They did, however, have a faster route to get into the Outer Rim.
Yeah.
And so he took that happily because he was like, "Sweet, now I have these faster routes. You don't have, I mean, you guys still have them, but now I also have them before they're public, and you guys don't have my routes. Cool."
Mm.
So it was a good day to be Sunshine.
Yep.
And then he's like, calls Mother, and he's like, "Okay, I'm done with my business. I'm gonna go do your job now."
Yep.
And,
Personal matter handled.
Yep. So while Sunshine's gone doing his job, Kevmo is kind of walking around Donna, kind of getting the lay of the land.
He's like, better go and see what the locals are up to while Master
Zala's working.
handles, like,
Yeah, she's working with the Sheriff Zink,
the sheriff, and getting their, like, essentially their hotel room set up.
and also kind of like also figuring out what the people, because the sheriff is basically their inside woman, and it's like, "Hey, here's what's going on with the locals. Here's the path and what they've been up to and what we think they're up to."
But we don't know.
Yeah, because not a lot of outsiders go inside.
It reminds me almost, this is a weird, do you remember, like, never mind, I'll bring it up.
Okay. So we're about to jump to the thing that we're going to talk about more when it comes to the beliefs of the Path of the Opie Hand.
Yeah.
But so Kevmo and Marta run into each other because Marta's walking the children because Marta is also kind of sad because she was just turned down to go on to be children again.
And asked, and it was one of these, like, it's funny what happens beforehand because
Yana basically
should
says,
I ask her?
and Yana's
Marta's
like, "No."
She's gonna say no, but you can try.
Yeah, because Yana straight up tells Marta, "Hey, I already know the answer. It's going to be no. But if you want to ask her, go ahead, waste your time." And Marta does.
Bad.
And basically,
like, everyone is there watching when she does this.
Yeah, like Core's like, "Oh, is she asking again?" And Yana's like, "Yeah."
I was like, "Mother, may I please join the children?"
No.
No.
Why? Because I
No.
said so. It's not your role.
Yeah.
And so
So Marta's like just dejected about that a little bit.
another thing to know about Trez is that he is currently expecting a child.
Yeah. He has not really told anyone. He's not, like, announced that to the path.
Yeah,
He's just,
it's just word of mouth that's kind of spread
Yeah.
where some people have figured it out.
they're like,
Yana being one of them.
Yana is like, yeah, he's like got a girl in town,
And as far as
not a member of the cult.
And as far as Yana's concerned, she's just like, it's not my business. Also, I don't like Trez to begin with, so
Yeah.
like I don't care. Like I don't care enough to either rat him out or to care that he's happy. Like I just don't care either way. Very. So, because Yana one isn't a true believer, so there's no point in Yana ratting him out and 2, Yana doesn't like him enough to be happy for him either. So it's just like,
This is a thing that's going on.
yeah. And so, um, Marta's out walking the littles, kind of like,
It's
and what they're doing is, so part of the path's ideology of getting other followers is they'll go out and carry flowers with them, and they'll basically give flowers to people and then talk about their beliefs. It's very
go on, say it.
it's very Mormonism and Jehovah's Witness of going door to door.
Yeah, except they just have this one spot and they don't go anywhere.
Yeah, they don't go anywhere else. It's all on Donna. Although,
no, I mean like in town.
Oh,
They
yeah,
go
it's
to
just
this one spot.
yeah. Although the plan is to get everybody in the path of the open hand off world eventually,
Yeah.
using the Gaze Electric. Once again, we now know the origins of the Gaze Electric. It's a ship that they were working on, and apparently, so all the Force artifacts are eventually going to be moved from wherever they're secretly hidden at the moment onto the Gaze Electric, and then they'll use the Gaze Electric to go basically from planet to planet, spreading the word of the path of the open hand. That's at least the story. Once again, that's the story they're told.
Yeah.
And that all the true believers will be taken on the path onto the Gaze Electric, which it was why Marta's pushing so hard to be one of the children, because Marta believes that she's going to get left behind.
Yeah.
It's basically the Rapture.
Yeah. I guess if you look at it from that perspective.
It's basically like, oh, I'm one of the true believers, and I get to be taken off to the great beyond. In this case, the Gaze Electric. But if I'm not a true enough believer, I get stuck down here on Donna. It really.
Why did it sound so sad when you said it like that?
But because I'm comparing it though, like it's like from Marta's perspective that it is a sad thing to get left behind. Pun kind of intended. It's very interesting.
For those of you who don't know,
Left Behind is a book series / movie series that's about the Rapture.
That's what I was going to say.
Oh, but that's why it's a pun. But
I'm not a very religious person, so get that out of the
Yeah.
way now.
yeah, whereas I'm a Christian, but I don't
Yeah.
push it. Like even I kind of like realize some of the ridiculousness of certain things. Like there's a point where I'm like, okay, we can't push that.
Yeah.
It's just, which is why reading this, it's very interesting to see this like cult, and then
I'm like,
it's not often that we really explore that in Star Wars.
Yeah. I'm like, oh man, I don't like being here. I don't like this at all.
It's very funny though, going from Tempest Runner to this,
Yeah.
because Tempest Runner kind of points out that the Nihil are also kind of a cult.
Yeah. Like, I'll be honest. If given the choice between the path of the open hand or joining the Nihil as like a fucking hard and fast thing, I'm probably going with the Nihil. I don't want to be involved with the path of the open hand.
Really?
Yeah.
Is it more because of the fakeness of it versus like how the Nihil are a little bit more upfront with their,
Yeah. I think that's the main issue.
which is generally how hardcore cults work, is they fake, the happiness is fake.
Yep.
It's not real. God, this would have been a good episode for somebody that we know to have on, but we didn't know that would be the main topic of this book. Ugh. But yeah, so Marta runs into Kevmo.
Yeah.
And it's basically love at first sight.
Yeah.
Uh,
Oh, you poor thing.
both of you.
Y'all got fucked.
But basically they get to know, they talk to each other a little bit, and then Kevmo decides, I'm going to impress her. Because he's like, I'm gonna use the Force to, because she drops some of the some of the flower petals, and so he starts to use the Force to kind of do a little whirlwind with them and make them look cool. And she's like, no, stop, you can't do that. What the fuck are you doing? Essentially,
He's like,
I'm just using the Force.
The Force
"'Cause I'm a Jedi," and
That's what Jedi do.
she's like, "Wait, you're a Jedi?"
And he's like, yeah.
And
She's
so
like,
that is
come on,
those are two red flags for me.
come on, kids, we're going home.
Yeah, because you
Don't
can't
talk to me or my children ever again.
essentially.
Kinda.
What are you doing in my good Christian Minecraft server? So basically, it's like you can't use the Force because the Force it's the determinism
Yeah.
again. It's the you use the Force and therefore something bad will happen, even though
Yeah.
all you did was this. Like you didn't do anything bad, but you did.
You didn't do anything immediately bad, but later something bad will happen because of this.
And so this leads to a little bit of a we can't talk to each other for
Oh,
for a minute.
for a minute.
Because she runs off because she's
Yeah.
like, I think you're attractive, but no,
Yeah. And
because you disrespect the Force by doing that. Is basically what
Zemo
they.
is
He
confused.
is so confused.
Like, damn.
So he goes back to Master Zala and he tells what happened, and he's like, I don't get what I did wrong.
And she's like,
You didn't do anything wrong.
you didn't do anything wrong. It's just how the path sees.
They have a misconstruing
different-
belief, which Zala like Zala really pushes for this. They are so wrong that she compares them to the Sith.
Yeah, Zala is.
Which, knowing what the path will do later on, maybe that comparison's not entirely wrong.
Yeah. Maybe not entirely wrong.
I'd say it's more the path is misguided than
Yeah.
anything, because Mother specifically. I'd say Mother is almost as bad as the Sith.
The rest of them aren't.
They're just more misguided.
Yeah.
Because I think they do believe, hey, we're doing the best thing for the Force. But yeah, they basically believe that there's so much Force that you can take, which is an argument during that scene that Marta and Kevmo have.
Yeah.
Because Marta's like, you can't. Kevmo's like, you can't. A plant doesn't take from the sun to where the sun can't do anything else. That's not how energy works. The
Yeah.
sun still creates more energy.
And the thing that she says is like, do you think fruit wants to be taken from a plant? And I'm like, I don't think you know how plants work, lady.
Plants will be fine. They will,
No, fruit is explicitly supposed to
Yeah,
be taken from
because
plants.
it's how they plant more because you use the seeds from the fruit to plant more of them.
It's like, I know what you were trying to say. It's not a very apt
Well,
metaphor.
even
even they
he
go
admits-
like, wait a minute, that's not.
even Marta admits like, okay, the plant analogy's not my best.
Yeah.
Because Kevmo immediately turns and he's like, "You what?" And so
And so they go and they split up,
Yeah.
and they go back to their
respective people,
respective mentor / religious leader.
which I forget the name of the elder, Artem,
Which one?
the one that's like that tells Marta that Marta's like overreacting a little bit.
Oh,
It begins with an A.
Aiden Wade or something.
Something like that.
Waden Wad.
Yeah, but yeah, they are surprisingly a little bit more.
Like, it's fine. Don't worry about it.
They are surprisingly a little bit more neutral when it comes to things about the path, to the point that they're kind of like, hey, the mother's not as perfect as you would probably believe.
Yeah.
In fact, you are probably a better replacement for the mother than. Which Marta's like, whoa, that's blasphemous.
Careful. It's starting to sound a little heretical there, Elder.
So even within the path of the open hand, there's a lot of people that are like higher up that are like, yeah, this mother is not. Because, so they explain the background for a lot of these characters, but they're very vague with the mother. Like the mother, we kind of know.
They know she was exiled from Jeddah, I think.
I thought
It's
it.
either Jeddah or Coruscant.
I thought it was. I thought it was the herald who was from Jeddah. I thought he was part of the the what's that group? The same one that Chirrut's part of. The Guardian of the Wills.
Yeah, something like that.
So I thought the Herald was part of that.
This is the case.
That-
You might want to fact check.
Yeah, I'm double checking. We are getting the wrong mother.
No, not you.
Alicia.
There we go.
Yeah, we just know she's from the Core Worlds.
Okay. Yeah.
The Herald's the one that's from Jeddah, because the Herald started the Path of the Open Hand, because he was originally part of the Guardian of the Wills, which is the same group that Chirrut and Baze Malbus are part of in Rogue One. Basically, they believe in the Force and, similar tenets of the Jedi, but they're not Jedi. Because usually Guardians of the Will are a little bit less imbued with the Force. Like, usually they have a type of connection to the Force, but they're not Force users.
Yeah.
Like, Chirrut isn't a Force user, but you can tell that Chirrut has some heavier Force sensitivity than other normal people. Like, everybody is like we've had this discussion. Everybody's Force sensitive. It's just a matter of where on the scale of Force sensitivity are you? Are you Jedi level, or are you Chirrut level, or are you even less? Like, you and I are even less.
Yeah.
Whereas Chirrut has some Force sensitivity, which is why he's able to not get shot for that minute in Rogue One when he's doing the blind walk, which he's already blind, but you know what I mean. The
Force made him blind so he could bypass bullets.
But yeah, the bullet walk, when he does the walk to the button, that's the Force kind of leaning towards helping him because he trusts in the Force. Which is basically what the Path believes in as well. They believe that, the Force helps us out because they believe in... It's become a Twitter meme already. Gifts freely given.
Yeah. Oh.
It's already
a
Twitter meme.
Stupid fucking thing I said last night.
But yeah, gifts freely given is already a meme. And so, like, they believe in gifts freely given, which is basically the Force will provide for us.
Mm-hmm.
Which is why it provides visions to the mother, whether you believe in those visions or not. So eventually, though, Sunshine comes back from his mission. We get another... after reporting what happened, Yana comes up with this idea, because Mother still doesn't know the Jedi are there yet.
Yeah.
Yana comes up with this idea of, hey, we should invite the Jedi over, so that way they can see that, hey, we're not anything to worry about.
Yep. They're like, if we act like there's nothing wrong,
then they'll think
they'll think that
there's nothing wrong.
Fine.
Yeah. Because they're obviously here looking for the Rod of Seasons.
Yeah.
That's basically...
Why else would they be here?
Yeah. That's at least the conclusion they come to, which they are half correct. The Rod of Seasons is one of the reasons they're there.
Yep.
And so they basically decide, if we just prove there's nothing wrong, then there's nothing wrong. And Yana's like, I'll go ahead and report it to Harold and Mother. That way they know, but we should be fine with this plan. Go ahead and invite them. And so Marta goes off to invite them, and then Yana goes over to report it. Harold's kind of a little bit more wary of the plan.
It's like, are we sure?
But Mother approves it, and Harold, as soon as she does that,
All
Harold's
right.
like, okay.
If that's what you want, that's what we'll do.
Because Mother's like, yeah, Yana's right. If we just present that there's nothing wrong, then as far as the Jedi concerned, there's nothing wrong. So we're inviting them for dinner.
Mm-hmm.
And so
let's invite our enemies to the dinner table, she said.
It's the
that's a pretty good idea. Let's do that.
It's the keep your enemies closer.
Yeah.
You know, that tactic. Friends close, enemies closer.
We should mention that when she sends Marta to do this, it is storming outside.
Yeah, because it's starting to storm. Yeah.
And they're like...
Which becomes relevant later. Because Donna basically has these huge cycles of, like, no rain at all, and then heavy storms. That's basically their cycles.
Yep.
But they never know when the rain cycles will start.
They just know that for 3 days it's going to rain like crazy.
It's basically winter in Westeros. Like, we know it's coming. We just don't know when, and
Yeah.
it's always bad when it shows up.
And like even Marta is like, shouldn't I wait a little bit, like for it to kind of calm down a bit? And the mother is like, no, doing this will show your conviction to the path. And Marta's like, I'll do it.
Yeah. So Marta goes off to invite them, and Sunshine I think is back by now from from his mission, and so then Marta's shy about it too. She like basically taps on the door, not even really a like convictive knock. Like it's more just like, hello, sort of
Let
deal.
me in, please.
I would like to, and like she doesn't even think they'll say yes.
Yeah.
And meanwhile, Zala's like, yeah, of course we'll go.
Yeah.
Like Zala's immediately like, yeah,
Like,
sure. And Marta's like, oh, okay.
I didn't
Expect
I
that.
didn't think I'd get this far.
And so she's like, okay, I guess I'll see you there. And then she leaves. And then of course Kevmo is also surprised. He's like, so we're going? And Zala's like, yeah.
It's good to
It's a good way to get in with them and also to be able to investigate what's going on.
Yeah.
They're literally letting us in. We don't have to trick them into letting us in. They're letting us in.
And besides, talking about your views with other people is good for you.
Yeah, it's healthy. It's something that gets brought up later on, but there's basically, going back to Jeddah, there's basically this convocation that they talk about of a bunch of Force users, like different Force beliefs that all congregate on Jeddah.
Yeah.
Because we know the Guardian of the Wills are there and the Jedi have a presence there, but there's also other beliefs that are there, and they basically have this like huge little...
They have like a debate hall.
Yeah, it's basically an embassy hall where a bunch of Force beliefs can come together and be like, hey, this is what we believe. Well, this is what we believe, and here's why our belief's a little bit strong. And it's like a healthy debate, though.
Yeah.
It's like... It's not like anybody's trying to turn each other into the other belief. It's more of just like, here's our belief and a little bit something healthy to think about. You know. So it's interesting that exists.
Mm-hmm.
I can't think of a real world equivalent to that because we don't really have that.
Not anymore.
Yeah.
There were a few. They don't exist anymore.
Yeah, we don't really have a healthy equivalent of that. Now it's I'm right and you're wrong, and then that's it. It's not a, here's what I believe and here's why. It's, I'm right and you're wrong, shut up, your belief is stupid.
Mm-hmm.
That's basically what it comes down to these days.
Oh, God.
And I guess that is what it eventually becomes because we start hearing less and less about other Force beliefs.
Yeah.
And so, and even less about Jeddah. Yeah, they go to the dinner, and it's because basically Zala sees it's the difference between the police getting a warrant and you inviting the police into your house.
Yeah,
you've invited them in, so now they can look, versus them having to go through the trouble of getting the warrant to look. Now the Jedi don't need the warrant because you've let them in, and so that's how Zala sees it. She's like, we're just being let in, and so. They go to the dinner while it's storming still.
Yeah.
And the mother is nowhere in sight.
Nope, mother.
Mother is supposedly meditating.
Peace. She gone.
Supposedly in a meditative state and not to be bothered.
Yeah.
Which Zala's like, that's interesting, but okay, I will not interfere with your beliefs.
Yeah, and she's like hanging out with the elders, like drinking tea.
Yeah, they're having a fine little. Honestly, they're having a little healthy debate. And it's the same thing with Kevmo and Marta. They're having a little bit of a spar about their beliefs, and that's when the Jedi stuff gets brought up. And Kevmo's like, "Man, you would make a fine Jedi council member because you could debate for hours." And she's like, I don't really like
that you said that.
I don't like the idea of debating. It's more of just I'm trying to convince you of my belief. It's less of a debate in her mind, but it's like, no, that's the definition of a debate.
Yeah.
And then after the dinner,
the rain does calm down for
like
an hour,
enough,
which is important.
Enough for them to kind of leave, and I think
there's a nice little tree
Yeah,
in the fucking Path of the Open Hands like little compound. So she takes him there.
where they talk about that they really, really like each other, but can't do anything about it.
Yep. It's like, damn, I like you a lot. If only you weren't surrounded by crazy people. Yeah, me too. If only you weren't surrounded by people who do everything I dislike.
And basically, he's like, "Man, I wish you would go off road and go to Jeddah because then you could still express your belief in the open." Because he brings up the Jeddah thing.
Yeah.
He's like, "You could express your belief in the path still and kind of be a representative for the path."
The convocation is what it's called.
Yeah, and so like go to the convocation and you know that would be your way of helping the open hand still, but also you and I could still see each other.
Yeah.
And so
Shame.
something that Marta actually does kind of think about.
Yeah.
To the point that after Kevmo and Zala leave, Marta brings it up to Mother, and Mother's like, "Nah, that's dumb.
Yeah.
Your role is to take care of the littles."
What was it? Because I believe the convocation happens on Jeddah, and she says something along the lines of, I don't want the path of the open hand on Jeddah,
Yeah,
which is very specific. Because usually souls.
it's the Force doesn't want, which
Yeah.
is something Marta catches. Even Marta's like, that's weird.
It's different.
That's weird.
Yeah.
Mother never says I want. It's always what the Force wants.
Yep.
That's weird. The cracks are showing.
Yeah.
And so, is this when the storm comes back and picks up heavy?
I think the storm returns.
And it actually starts to destroy the town
Yeah.
and the path. So it destroys both the town and the path because it's that bad.
Things get wrecked.
And so Zala and Kevmo are immediately in rescue mode.
Yeah.
And so it's basically like a hurricane impacting the.
Basically, it might as well.
And so Zala is helping the main town with the help of Zinc. Did I miss something?
This is important because it'll come up later. The path has. We were talking about them earlier.
Yeah.
The like hatchlings.
Oh yes, because we missed that was a whole section of
And it's very
because that's part of the first mission of when Yana gets back.
Yeah.
So when we first meet Yana, she's actually returning with Core from a mission, which was getting the Rod of Seasons.
Yeah.
Which, Core, by the way, is a Force user
Yes.
because she senses where the Rod of Seasons is because she's like, oh, this crate's it, because they basically go to this vault with a bunch of crates, and she's like, this is the crate,
Yeah.
and they open it and they're like, yep, this is it.
First they find the ID number, and then Core goes and makes sure that it's the right one, and they both, and she gets back down, and they're like, okay, and she's like, I don't fucking like this one.
But they're basically trying to hurry that mission up
Yeah.
though, because they're excited about the hatchlings happening.
Yep.
Because the hatchlings are basically the new people that are part of the path of the open hand. It's the new babies,
Yeah.
essentially. So the newborns.
Yep.
And so they're like, I'm excited because every year they have the big hatching, and they're like, we want to be there. And so they try to hurry up to get to the big hatching. They miss the hatch.
But they make it for the naming ceremony.
Yes. And so this is important because during the storm, some of the newborns are at risk.
Yeah.
And so
Because of how the path of the open hand and where they're located is.
yeah, there's
They
a
don't
lot of
live
cave
in buildings.
systems.
They mostly live in the caves.
And so
And the caves are starting to flood.
and so Zala is helping Zinc with the main town. And then Kevmo has been like, "Okay, I'm going to go help the path because I know they're going to need help as well." And so he goes off, and boy, they go through it.
Yeah.
So Marta and Kevmo managed to get all the littles out,
Yeah.
but then Kevmo gets stuck and uses his lightsaber to kind of like shine a way out
Yeah.
with the help of Marta. But one of the key things of when he helped the littles get out is he used the Force.
Yeah, he had to use the Force in order to like get it to stop flooding for a minute.
Yeah. Basically, he held the storm so that way they could quickly,
Yeah.
He basically did that cool thing that Vader does every time that in Jedi Fallen Order when he holds the water
Yeah.
back. It's basically that.
Yeah. So that way the hatchlings and their parents could get out.
And so Marta's like both upset but also glad.
She's like, I know what you did, and I'm glad that you did it.
It's like, I'm mad that you had to do it, but I'm glad that you did end up doing it.
Yeah.
I don't know what the cost will be later, though, and that's the part I'm upset about. Yeah. And so everybody makes it out for the most part. Communications, though, are down.
Yeah.
And yes, Sunshine is back, because that is important, because he makes it back, because he's one of the only working vehicles.
Yes.
After the storm.
After the storm, Treze decides, yeah, I'm gonna go visit my girl, see how that's going. And this is important as well.
Yeah, because he's basically coming to the conclusion that once the baby's born, he's probably going to leave.
Yeah.
And Yana is also at her... Yana and Core have also been discussing leaving for years. There's a couple things that have been holding Core back.
Yeah.
Her mom is sick. Two, Core is also a true believer, almost on Marta levels.
Yeah, she's like just below Marta. I think in terms.
Yeah. And so, like, her mom has been sick for a while, and the mother has been kind of helping. They recently started to get medicine, which they believe is one of those gifts freely given. In reality, it's mother's likely been selling some of the Force artifacts for money, and that's at least a theory that's Yana and a few others have held.
That's the theory.
I don't think anything is ever proven of how the
they got a patron who gives them money.
Okay. But yeah, so I could also see Mother selling some of the artifacts though.
Yeah, no.
Because medicine is not cheap.
No.
Even in Star Wars. And so they the other thing is, because Core is a Force user, she senses something is off about the new jewel that Mother's been wearing.
I don't like it. It's weird.
Yeah, it's bad
also,
weird.
It got bigger.
It's bad weird. Yeah, it's got bigger and it's bad weird.
Yeah.
Which Yana's like, I usually trust your instincts, so yeah, I'm gonna trust you on this. Cause like Mother was like rubbing, like essentially stroking it while watching over her Core's mom at one point, and Core was like, I kind of don't like Mother having that around my mom.
I don't like my mom being around the weird cult lady.
I don't know why, but there's something weird now about it.
Like before it was fine, but now it's not good.
Yeah. And so eventually we get to... So since comms are down, everybody's kind of trying to work on, at least in the main town they're down. I think they're fine in...
the issue is planet-wide communication is available.
It's local communication
It's local communication. Sorry, let me get... Local communication is fine, but galactic communication is down.
Yeah. And so, like...
So as long as you're calling someone in your state, you're fine.
Yeah.
But if you're not, then...
Yeah.
You can't.
Or in your country.
Yeah.
And so they're kind of dealing with that. And it's the main town that's having to fix that, because that's a main town issue. And so Zala is kind of helping the town kind of rebuild. Meanwhile, Marta and Romeo Kevmo over there are off doing Romeo and Juliet things, going on secret dates.
Yep.
Which they kiss at one of them.
Mm-hmm.
Which Zink saw.
Mm-hmm.
And Zink told Zala. Zink's like, hey, I saw your Padawan in town. And so Zala's like, hey, Zink saw you in town. We need to talk. They basically have
the exact words are, let us discuss attachments.
And immediately Kevmo's like, God damn it.
I thought like, oh, this is the Jedi talk.
It's the birds and the bees, but for Jedi.
Yeah.
It's like you can like people, and you can like people. Just don't let that control you. Also, it's fine to have sex even, but
yeah,
just don't let that control you.
Remember,
just don't get married.
Yeah, just don't do that.
Just don't get married, and don't let attachments control you.
Yep. There is also a great, and it's around like page 180, I think, where someone's reading a romance novel.
Because we got our romance novels in the High Republic.
Yeah, and it's like a senator and a Jedi in the future, and I'm like, I don't like where this is going. I'm like, everyone's like, yeah, I mean, I guess it could happen, but
It
like,
could happen.
it probably won't.
Meanwhile, we're all like, yeah.
Yeah, yeah.
And so, so they more and more Marta is starting to lean towards the idea of, yeah, I'm going to do this Jeddah thing.
Mm.
Because, like, she really wants to be with Kevmo, and Kevmo really wants to be with her.
Yeah.
And so, at the same time, she's learning that Yana has secretly decided that they're leaving, that Yana's leaving.
Oh yeah, it is like the first time that I think Yana has seen Marta like actually angry.
We'll get to that, yeah. Because she doesn't confront Yana yet.
No, not yet.
It's when Yana gets back from that mission.
Oh boy. Okay.
So basically, Yana, basically decides that she's not going to invite Kor because she's basically decided that Kor's not going to leave.
Yeah. She's like, her mom's sick. She believes in all of this.
And I don't want to take her away from that.
Yeah.
I love her enough that I can let her go. And so she basically goes to Mother and is like, hey, I'm
After
out.
This next job.
No, not even. She first says, I'm out. And then Mother says, hey, how about one more job? Mother brings up the one more job.
And she goes, fine.
Yeah.
But after that, I'm leaving.
Once again, Mother doing that little manipulative push. Just one more job.
Oh.
And so Yana says, fine, one more job.
Yeah.
And so she's like, how am I even going to leave? She's like,
oh,
I've got a guy. So you, Trez, and Kor will go on this one more job.
Yeah.
And so Marta overhears... No. Kevmo overhears Trez talking about the one more job.
That's why it's important.
Kevmo...
Trez has sneaked away to
his girlfriend.
To his girlfriend.
He tells her about, hey, I got to go on this job. But then we're going to be out soon.
It's like, I'll steal something nice for you while I'm...
Yeah. And so Kevmo's like, okay, so they definitely are taking artifacts. Yeah. How am I going to tell Marta? Is essentially all he can think about, rather than, like, he does think about, okay, I got to tell Master Zala, but it's also, how do I tell Marta without her hating me?
Yeah.
Because he basically comes to the correct solution of Marta doesn't know that they're outright stealing things.
Yeah.
He does, like, and he's correct. She doesn't. It's one of the few times where the Jedi instinct is correct when it comes to who is innocent and who's not. Instead of pulling Elzar Mans and thinking,
they just got Elzar. Fuck it. No chances.
And so, we love to hate Elzar. We love him, but we also love to tease it
because he's trying so hard to be better, but situations keep looking so goddamn bad in front of him.
Yeah,
and he's like, I have to do this now because if I don't, things are gonna get worse.
Yep.
But they get worse because he jumps for it.
Yeah, he jumps and then he thinks about it afterwards.
Yeah. Like, he at least reconsiders it.
And he tries to go back and be like, okay, how can I better myself from doing that again?
Yeah.
Unfortunately, the thing that happens next time is usually worse than the last thing.
Yeah.
But yeah, so Kevmo goes to tell Zala what's up, and they're like, okay, we need to start planning a confrontation with Mother, because we need to figure out what's going on.
Yeah.
So Yana, Trez, and Kor leave with Sunshine. Sunshine is the pilot. And they go on their mission because basically Zala is like, okay, we don't have our ship, so we're waiting anyways. So we'll just keep an eye on the ship that leaves and wait for it to come back, and then we'll catch him in the act, essentially, is the plan. And so, meanwhile, Marta is kind of still coming to grips with her beliefs as she's starting to kind of come more and more to the fact that, okay, something is weird.
Yeah. Something's not right.
Yeah. Something's not adding up. Yana's wanting to leave. and which is also creating an emotional state of distress
Yeah.
because she's like, why would my cousin leave me? We only have each other because we're the
Yeah.
only Everini that we know of. Which also a big thing that a big
Oh,
arc
Marta
for her.
knows that the Everini are not liked in the wider galaxy, but she doesn't know why.
Yeah. And she also like she tries to hide that from Kevmo, but when she eventually reveals that she's Everini, Kevmo's like, okay, because he has no idea what that
Yeah.
means. And
Uh,
also, she's coming to grips that she's not no because she's worried that she tries not to smile
yeah.
because she tries not to show her Everini teeth because of that belief. But as she learns to trust Kevmo more, she learns to kind of be like, "Oh, I can do this." It's kind of a self confidence thing, and she kind of builds self confidence as she's with Kevmo.
Uh, so we already, I think we delved a bit into like Everini and
Yeah, we
their
talked
whole
about their
deal.
history. Yeah,
Uh, apparently a common term for them throughout the galaxy because of that is planet killers.
yeah.
And I'm like, damn, you're
But
5 years old walking down the street and just have someone call you a planet killer.
all right, so we want to jump into this third act because
Yeah,
things
are
get
getting-
crazy. So throughout this entire book, while I was reading it, I was like, so what's the big moment that's like gonna push all the big stuff that happens for this phase?
Yeah.
Act three really just goes for it. It says, okay, we are running. We are now hitting the ground running. Here is the thing you were waiting
enjoyed
for.
your love story.
Now we're just gonna drag you through the rest of this, and it's gonna be nonstop.
Yeah.
And I'm like, okay, this is what I was waiting for.
Mm-hmm.
And it was worth it, I think.
Yeah.
I think the first two acts led up perfectly to what's about to go down. So it turns out the heist is they are going to a graph facility.
Yeah. And I heard that and I was like, oh no.
And
No.
they are stealing a force artifact from the graphs.
Yeah.
So they have been given these disguises to believe that they are part of a different force group where basically they're going to...
It's not even that.
Well, basically...
It's just this world, because it's another ice world, right?
Yeah. But it's one that they say it was so bad that nobody could... They tried to have a colony there, but then an ice age essentially happened.
Yep.
Fucked the colony up. And then they eventually, some scientists years later, were able to develop a heating system using the core of the planet, which actually I have a world like that in Superworld, so it's funny that...
Yeah.
And so they were like, yeah, there's one city, and here's the...
Actually, now that I think about it, this world does remind me of like one of the worlds from like the first video games I ever played as a child called Lost Planet Extreme Conditions.
Oh, I know Lost Planet. Yeah.
Yeah. And it's that. And I'm like, I didn't realize that until now that they're on the fucking...
Yeah.
Fucking...
Lost Planet, good games.
Yeah.
1 and 2. But yeah, so they basically go to Lost Planet and they're claiming to be essentially refugees who are like, hey, we need refuge from the cold.
They go and they're like, we invoke
this
the right of
hospitality.
here.
This right of hospitality where they have to let them stay for like an hour or something like that and potentially feed them but the graphs are really cold about it. They're like,
you get 1 hour.
That's it. Once you're done, get out.
Yep.
You can't go anywhere. Stay here. And then Yana's like, hey, can I use the facility at least? And so they're like, okay, fine, whatever. And so they point out the facility, the refresher.
Yep.
And Yana goes in there and pulls out this data pad that's supposed to like shut down all the computer systems. And all of a sudden, Yana hears pew pew, stab, stab, screaming, bloody murder, and she recognizes one of the screams as Core, and she's like, "Oh shit!" And she heads out, finds out that the graphs are just going full ham against. Like she finds a knife inside Trez already.
Trez gets cut. The knife isn't inside him yet.
Oh, okay, but yeah.
And this is one of the moments where I'm like, I really hope that the three of them can handle this. As it turns out,
they cannot.
Yana is fucking
Yana's the only one that can.
yeah.
Because Trez immediately goes out. Trez
He
is
does not.
well, he's one of the he goes down pretty fast comparatively.
He goes down fast comparatively because I think of how you read it. He holds his own. However, he is someone using even like archaic weapons by the standards of Star Wars.
Especially when the graphs are some of the leads of technology.
Yeah. He showed up there with like 3 throwing knives and a dagger.
And
The
yeah,
funny thing is he almost gets away, except for apparently the Graphs had one crazed security guard on staff.
who then throws his own knife back at him.
He rips the knife out of his chest just to make sure Trez dies.
Yeah, Trez's own knife kills him.
Yeah.
And then Core is the next to go out.
Cora's the next to go out because she gets wounded.
Yeah, it's Core is more of a oh no, I died. Whereas Trez you kind of see it coming.
Yeah.
And Core is more like, oh shit.
Yeah. It's like I didn't think we were going this route, but
And so Yana manages to leave and is like, okay, we've been
yeah,
like
she's able to take Cora with her for
like burial essentially.
no.
Or no, she doesn't even get that far. She starts to drag her, but she doesn't manage to get Cora all the way to
Yeah.
the ship.
She gets her like about a third of the way there before Cora is like
Hey, you got to just let me go.
also
I would have got a conversation they had on the ship before this all went down. Core and Yana have it out.
yeah,
because-
they have their like argument.
Because Core is like, hey, you should have invited me because I would have gone. Well, no, you should have invited me.
Yeah.
Because you didn't even ask.
Yeah.
And
it's
then
like
this
you
is
didn't even ask, and
yeah.
that's why I'm mad at you.
and then,
And then
this is when
where she's like, I would have gone with you if you had asked me.
yeah, because Core is like, hey, look, my mom would have been fine, and I loved you more than the path. So, but then she dies.
Yep, she dies, and I believe she gets eaten by whales.
So, yeah, because there's like a space.
Whatever the
there's
fuck
like
it
an ice
is.
well going
Yeah.
around, which is causing even more mayhem to this escape route.
Yep.
And Yana makes it onto the ship and like sees Sunshine waiting, and he's like, "Oh, you made it back," which is immediately when Yana clicks it, like, "Oh,
Like, oh, we got set up.
yeah, this was you. You were supposed to expect nobody to come back."
Yeah. And so she's
She
like,
threatens him. She's like, "I will kill you
it's the
if
thing
you
of,
don't."
do you think you can pull that trigger faster than I can tear out your throat?
Which she's
Is, I think, the
yeah,
exact
which
line.
he's bluffing, but she's like, he doesn't know that.
She's like, I'm going to use like
I'm gonna use-
reputation and everything else I have right now.
Yep.
And he's like, okay, fine. I'll
But
take you back.
But you're saying in the refresher because I don't trust you to not kill me while we're flying.
Yeah.
And she's like, okay, because in the back of her mind, she's like, I can't fly a ship
Can't fly
anyways.
anyway, so
She's like, I'll kill him later.
yeah.
And so they they start making their way back.
Yep.
Meanwhile, Kevmo and Zala are like ready to charge in
Like,
at the.
we just gotta go.
Yeah, they're ready to do we're going to investigate what's going on
Yeah.
here. And so things start to go down.
Yep.
So Zala
Zala and Marta break in. I mean,
Zala and Kevmo.
not Marta.
But-
Marta lives there, so she's not breaking
Yeah.
in.
So, but they don't find anything before Yana gets back.
Yeah.
So Yana gets back, and Marta sees her get back, and she's ready to confront her about the whole "you're leaving"
Yeah.
thing. But then she realizes nobody else
She's
leaves
like,
the
no
ship.
one else is back, and also, why do you have so much blood on you?
And also, why are you walking with such conviction?
And I'm like, god damn
Meanwhile, all that's in Yana's mind is, I'm going to kill the mother, I'm going to kill the mother, I'm going to kill the mother. And
it.
so, before she can do that, though, Marta comes up and they start having it out, too.
Yeah.
And they're like, hey, what the fuck? Why were you going to leave? And Yana's like, I can't make this about you right now. We need to talk about the fact that mother is full of shit
Yeah.
and that she got Core killed. and Trez killed. I don't care about Trez, but it's still fucked up. That's literally, I mean, that's literally how the book presents it is. She doesn't care that Trez is dead, except for the fact that it's kind of fucked up still.
Yeah. I'm not mad that you killed him. I'm mad that you betrayed all of us and then killed him.
Correct. And so, Marta, of course, does not want to believe this, but she's like, well, I'll get you a bath, and then you'll have time to think this out before you do something stupid.
Yeah. And I'm over here like, could we please just fucking kill this one?
And so, like, meanwhile, while she's giving Yana this bath, Yana is like telling the story from her perspective, like really having PTSD moment of this is what happened. Oh my god, I'm ruined forever. Of this mental image of my girlfriend dying and being betrayed by this bitch.
Yeah.
And also, what the fuck is Harold gonna think when I tell him that his daughter?
I have to tell him. Also important thing: the Herald knows that Yana was going to leave.
Yes.
He wanted to make sure that Kor stayed.
Correct.
Which is why he asked Marta to go and look for Yana, which is why Marta has been out looking
to have this conversation. Yeah. And meanwhile, Marta is making this about Mother and how Mother's innocent, and Yana's like, what the fuck? Why don't you believe me? You're my only family. And Marta's like, no, we're all family.
She's like, stop and listen to yourself for 10 seconds.
Yeah. And so, eventually, after bathing, Yana and Marta are like, okay, let's go talk to Mother and kind of. Yeah. And so, Yana's going to actually talk to Mother while Marta gets caught up talking to the elders a little bit further out of the caves. And I think she spots Kevmo. If I remember correctly, she spots Kevmo having snuck his way in, and she gets upset about that.
Not yet.
Not yet.
After, like...
Well, it's before the whole things go down.
Oh, no, it's after, like, not Kevmo, god damn it. Yana and Marta get done with eating and, like, having the discussion of the mother is not good.
Yeah, we're past that.
Okay.
So Yana is going off to talk to Mother and to confront her.
Yeah.
And Marta's kind of like, okay, well, during the dinner, they kind of agree that Marta will go with Yana off-world.
Yeah.
Marta sees this as, okay, you're going to leave off-world, but I'm going to help be there to kind of guide you to still be part of the path.
Yeah.
Meanwhile, Yana's like, I just want to get out of the path.
Mm-hmm.
And so Yana's like, I'm going to go kill Mother, then we're leaving.
Yeah. Marta's like, don't kill her. And Yana's like, I'm going to kill her anyway.
And so Marta's having, like, her way to kind of say goodbye to everybody. Yeah. And kind of be like, hey, I'm going to go serve the path a different way.
Yeah.
We're going to go to Jeddah is essentially the plan. She's going to try to convince Yana to go to Jeddah. She catches Kevmo sneaking in, and they have it out where Kevmo finally tells her, hey, Mother stole these things. And she's like, no, we liberated these things.
He's like,
no, they're stolen.
They're stolen.
And
like, these were in places where people weren't going to use them anyway, and she took them.
Yeah. And so, while this conversation's happening, Zalo gets busted sneaking in.
Yep.
Yana and Harold, Yana tells Harold about what's going on while she's on her way to confront Mother. Yana and Harold then confront Mother in the secret room where the artifacts are, like, almost a room over.
Yeah.
Which Zalos is sneaking to that room as well because she's using the Force to sense where the artifacts are. And
this is important. They know how to navigate the cave systems because Marta told them how to when it was flooding.
Yep.
And Zemo told
because
Kevmo,
because they had to get a way to save people. So that's why Kevmo was like, "Hey, I know how to navigate these."
Yep.
And that's why they were like, "Okay, now's our time to move because now we know what to do." And so, I'm trying to make sure I get the order of events right. Okay, so Yana's about to kill Mother
Yeah.
when Zala, everybody recognizes Zala's in there,
Yeah.
and they're like, "Oh, you can't be here."
I think that the egg has
The egg hatches
hatched.
in that moment. The egg hatches in that moment.
Yeah.
And basically Zala's about to attack Mother, and
Yeah.
then that egg hatches, and immediately this creature comes out to defend Mother, and it's the Leveler.
Yeah.
So I think we all know what happens at this point.
Mm-hmm.
Zala goes through the worst of the worst things that could happen for a Jedi. She immediately starts calcifying and fear and all that,
Yeah.
all that good Leveler bullshit.
Getting husked.
Yep. Here they call it calcifying, but yeah, it's being husked.
Yeah.
We just don't have the husk term yet,
Yeah.
and so the book calls it, basically describes it as them becoming calcified. Here, I noticed the calcification's a little bit stronger.
Yeah, that shit happened immediately.
Well, not just that, it also doesn't break as easily. It's not as brittle
Yeah.
as it is later on, because in phase 1, you touch somebody who's been calcified and they just dust. Here they pick them up at points.
Yeah. Except it's not like it's like a rock
Yeah,
as opposed to like dust.
yeah. But yeah, like they pick them up at points, and they're like, okay, we'll talk about that
Yeah.
when we get to it. But yeah, and so
Master Zala. Done.
yeah, Kevmo gets in there as well. Yeah, Kevmo is in there. It starts to make his way there as well when he hears Master Zala getting dusted, essentially.
Yeah.
And he's like, oh no, what's going on?
Yeah.
And he gets partially hit with it,
Yeah.
to the point where his face kind of like, they say it's stuck in a certain facial expression.
Mm-hmm.
And so he starts to run out going like, okay, I need to call for help.
Yeah.
And so he manages to get far enough out of the cave system where he manages to make a last-minute call.
Yeah.
And then he runs into Marta, but at this point he's 90%
He's
gone.
damn near dead.
And so Marta is freaking out because she loves him.
Yeah.
And she's like, what the fuck is going on? Tell me who did this to you. And he manages to finally get out Mother. And she doesn't quite believe it, but she's like, okay, this might be Mother. I need to find out what's going on. So she starts to make her way in, but at that point, Yana and Harold are starting to plot. Except Harold decides, you know what? No, I'm actually going to work with Mother on this one. Because Harold realizes, oh, this little thing, the Leveler, is kind of useful.
Yeah.
To my plans.
Also, important thing, Yana has the Rod of Seasons.
Because Mother basically gave it to her during their confrontation. She's like, you can have that and you can leave. That's the deal.
Yep. What she didn't, or maybe she did know at the time. I don't think she did, though, because...
Well, she said that the Jedi are going to be looking for her, but hey. Also, so basically, at this point, they say that the new plan for the path is that everybody's going to get out of the Gaze Electric. They're getting on it early.
Yeah.
It's not done. It's
well,
ship-worthy.
It doesn't have all
it's
of the
yeah,
embellishments. It still works.
It's space-worthy, but it's not, like, fancy.
Yeah.
Like, they were going to add, like, little comforts, but they're like, we can fix that later.
Yeah.
For now, let's get off-world because the Jedi are going to hunt us down.
It's very important that Yana has the Rod of Seasons.
Yes.
Because it makes the...
Well, hold on. We'll get there. So, Yana realizing that, okay, this isn't working out in my favor, I'm just going to leave.
Yeah.
Because she's like, all right, you guys do whatever. I'm out. And so she starts to walk away. And at this point, the elders have shown up, and, like, Mother has told the plan, and the elders are like, okay, I guess we're leaving. And because Mother has presented the Leveler as this gift from the Force. This is the gift freely given. This is our defense from the Jedi, but we're also going to leave, so that way we can now spread the word of... We're also going to make our way towards Jedi and cause some damage.
Yeah.
So Yana... Because basically the new plan is now to go full frontal, like full-on assault against Jedha. rather than defensive. They're being offensive now, since they now have a weapon.
Yeah.
And so Yana's leaving because she's like, fuck it, I'm out. Stupid Colt.
Yep.
Rod of Seasons. It is a device that we have seen before because it is a device that Markion uses to control the leveler.
Mm-hmm.
It is the device that to the other group, the
Tromax.
Tromac. It's a device that Tromac knows about. It's the puzzle piece from High Republic Adventures, the one that Crix tells Markion how to find.
Yeah.
So the Rod of Seasons controls the leveler, which is why when Yana walks away, the Rod of Seasons is in her back pocket essentially.
Yeah.
And she's walking away, and the leveler starts following her, like a lost puppy.
Yep.
Which they say it's already gotten bigger. They're like, oh, it killed these Jedi, and now it's bigger. Like it grows from killing these Jedi, like almost like it's feeding.
Mm-hmm.
And so, she's like, everybody witnesses this and goes, oh, Yana's the champion for the leveler.
Yeah.
The Force has basically said that Yana's the one that should be guiding us when it comes to what the leveler does. Which immediately Mother's like, fuck.
This wasn't part of the plan.
Immediately regretting giving
God
Yana the rod. Meanwhile, Harold is like, oh, perfect. I can use this against Mother. Now I can use this as a way of gripping power.
Mm-hmm.
And he's like, hey, Yana, fuck Mother. Here's how we're going to do it. We're going to get revenge eventually for Core. I don't really care about it. I care more about my power struggle with Mother. But since you care about the revenge for Core, that's going to be the motivation I tell you that we have. Yeah. And so we're gonna play the long game.
We're going to fuck her up, just not right now.
And so Yana reluctantly agrees, just as Marta finally shows up, Kevmo's lightsaber in hand, which I have a theory that's the lightsaber that gets passed down to Markion Ro. Because it's the same color, because it's a gold lightsaber.
Yeah.
I think the handle's slightly different. I'd have to look again, because I think Kevmo's has the guard. What color was Zala's lightsaber?
Zala's?
Was it blue?
I believe so, yeah.
Okay, then it's not the one that Markion has.
Yeah.
Okay.
So it's probably Kevmo's.
Yeah. And so, they basically decide, Mother's like, oh, I need a power play as well.
Yeah.
And so she's like, she tells Marta basically the story that Kevmo and Zala attacked her, which is partially true.
It would have been true.
It's partially
not
true.
For the birth of the leveler.
Yeah. And she's like, yeah, this gift of the Force has protected us, and now you are to be the guardian for the champion. So we got the champion, and then we got their guardian.
Yeah.
And basically this is a way of promoting Marta to create goodwill amongst the other followers of the path, because she's like,
I need something to make me look good.
I need something, one, to make me look good. Also, Marta is a true believer in me, so if I promote her, this will make people that believe, because people like Marta.
Yeah, like Marta isn't bad.
Well, by that I mean like she's so naive that people are like, oh, you're a very good person.
Yeah.
And so people like Marta, and so if somebody like Marta is promoted, it's gonna bring a lot of good, positive energy to the rest of the group.
Mm-hmm.
And so it's great morale boosting. Yeah. And so that's what Mother is intending. She's like, I'll boost your morale. Also, you're gonna become closer to me, so that way I can manipulate you against your own cousin.
Mm-hmm.
Is basically the long-term plan.
Yeah. The Herald and Mother are plotting fucking hard.
They're playing some of that chess.
Yeah.
So, we then get it. They leave after this, where they decide, okay, onto the Gaze Electric. We get a little bit of a flash forward scene on the Gaze Electric where we see like them kind of in their new like setups,
Yeah.
and we learn. So Sunshine's the pilot for the Gaze Electric, essentially, and Mother tells Sunshine their new plan. She says, "Hey, so you mentioned that there's another rod on Jeddah.
Mm-hmm.
We need to get that
Need
rod.
to go get it.
You're gonna go ahead, actually, and not fly. I'm gonna have whoever's flying the ship deal with this. You're gonna fly your ship out, and you're gonna fly ahead and get things ready for Jeddah. Let them know that the path is on its way, essentially. Also, set up a way for us to get the rod.
Yep.
Because I need that rod, otherwise, I can't get control of the leveler.
Go steal from the Jedi, or plan to.
Yeah. Help us set up this.
Yeah.
Meanwhile, Yana just sees this as we're gonna go attack Jeddah,
Yeah.
and Harold's like, "Yes, we're gonna bide our time and do that." And Yana sees through Harold. She's like, "I'm." But Yana is also using this opportunity to get closer to Marta, because she's like, "Hey, we're the only two of each other left. We're the only ones that we can kind of rely on. We can't." And Marta's like, "The only thing I trust is the Force now." After what happened with Kevmo.
She's over here like, I don't trust none of y'all motherfuckers.
Yeah. Also, I got a lightsaber now.
Yep.
2 lightsabers, actually, because they took Zala's as well.
Took my dead boyfriend's lightsaber.
And so, we jump ahead of a few days. I think they say 2 days? Yeah. 2 days. And Aslan Rael, the Jedi we mentioned earlier, the one who was friends with Kevmo and Zala, he's like, he comes in to investigate what happened because the call got to him.
Yeah.
And he basically finds out their fate.
He's like, shit. I can't even...
He doesn't know what happened. He's like, God, this is bad.
I can take their clothes back for a burial, but I can't actually move them.
Yeah. And so,
fuck.
He then goes back to,
And he's also like, God damn, this place is just covered with bad.
Yep. Like, he senses all the bad stuff that happened. And he also senses where the artifacts were, but they're all gone now. As we assumed would be the case. But yeah. And that's basically where the story ends. He's like, oh shit, I need to...
Fuck, I need to go tell them.
I need to tell them, but I don't know what I'll tell them happened. Because I don't know what happened. I just know that this happened.
I know that I've got two
Jedi
and a room with no artifacts at all.
And a cult that's out somewhere in space.
And an empty cult base.
Where they're out in space going who knows where.
Yep.
And that is the end of the book. Like, it literally ends there with him like, shit. Thoughts? I think this is a good, strong start to Phase 2.
Very strong start to Phase 2. I am going to give this book an 8.5.
We were talking about it earlier. I'm going to stick with what I gave it.
Yeah.
I'm going to give it a 9. I think this is absolutely necessary reading material if you're a High Republic fan.
I will agree with that.
If you want all the puzzle pieces to start to connect, obviously not everything is connected yet. There are still some missing pieces of like, okay, how do the Rose really get even more in power? What happens to the mother? What happens to Harold? There's stuff like that we haven't gotten, but that's where the story's going to go. That's stuff that's like, okay, we'll get there. How do the other Jedi fit into this? How did Yoda and them not know about any of this when Yoda was around?
Yeah.
So we'll get to those answers. There's still some answers we don't have, but it's only the first book. We have so much. Like, this is wave 1, similar to Phase 1. We've got our 3 waves. So wave 1 has started, and this is the young adult novel. This isn't even the adult novel for this phase.
Oh boy.
We're getting the adult novel next. Convergence. But yeah. So I'm excited. I am excited to see where This
God,
this
I am too,
like
because I don't know where we're going.
yeah, exactly. And that's honestly the best part about the High Republic in general is we
Yeah.
don't know where we're going. The High Republic's like, all right, let's go this way. And it's like, where? Where are we going? We're going. Okay. And you don't know who. Like, nobody is safe.
Yeah.
The
No one. The only person who's
the
safe
only
in the
people
High
that are
Republic
safe
is
are
Yoda.
Yoda, Yaddle. Who else has shown up? Treebeard, Mr. Treebeard.
Yep.
We haven't seen Plo Koon yet, but he'll be safe when we see him.
Yep. But so far that's like a 3 out of the fucking
Yeah.
500 something characters.
Yeah. So we'll actually be going forward in time next week. And not like in the sense of we're telling the next part of the phase 2. No, we're going to phase 1 for a bit.
Okay.
We got to finish one more thing in phase 1. And that is Starlight, one more Starlight story. And it's the after Starlight after Fallen Star happens.
Voko Jaheen. Fuck, I lost my job.
It's a little bit of what's happening during Fallen Star as well as like the results of Fallen Star. So like we're getting that story. Because obviously we haven't had Velko's part of that yet. So we're getting that.
Velko, I lost my job, Jaheen.
So that's next week.
Oh,
and then
poor woman.
And then the thing that I'm really excited about is the week after. Tales of the Jedi is out.
Yes.
So we're going to get a show before we get Andor. We're getting Tales of the Jedi. Because all 6 episodes come out on the same day. And even though we could wait another week to talk about it, we're just going to talk about it the week it comes out. Because it comes out on the Wednesday. It's 6 episodes. It's basically the same situation as Visions, where it's all at once, and they're shorts, so we can just sit down and watch all of them.
Yep.
So that's what we're going to do. So next week, Starlight Shadows Remain. Week after, Tales of the Jedi. And then we'll be in November, and we'll have some more Phase 2 High Republic stuff. And I'll give like the November spiel during the Tales of the Jedi episode. I'll say what the November plan is at that point, because I have some stuff and we have some guests to look forward. We have a guest to look forward to in November, or December actually. So actually nothing in November. We got free spots. So if you're a friend of the channel, reach out. Tell me you want to be on the show, and we'll tell you what we're talking about. We're pretty open about the schedule. Especially when it changes. It changes a bit. Usually when new books are announced.
Yeah.
But that's it for this week. So we'll be live again next week.
Yes.
Hopefully. Should be live. And then, so thank you guys for watching. Be sure to like and subscribe to the channel if you're watching on, well, you're going to be watching on YouTube, because since it's pre-recorded, that's where we are. It's youtube.com/Escape Reality Films. And so like and subscribe. If you're a fan, if you want to check out our Twitch, though, which is where we also are usually live at, it is twitch.tv/CJ Star Wars 94. And follow or subscribe there, and subscribing helps out. Gives us a little bit every month if you do that. We're almost to our following count, though, of our follower goal of 100. We're like 4 followers away. So if you want to join the follow crew and be updated when we're live, there you go. We also have a Patreon, patreon.com/Escape Reality Films. That's another way to show support to the channel. I would like to thank Jennifer, who is our main patron at the moment, Seth's mom.
Thank you.
Some of the benefits for being a Patreon member is you get to be part of the Discord channel where Seth and I talk about whatever we're reviewing throughout the week. We're discussing it as we're reading it. And then we just hang out there sometimes. And we've got some of our guests that have been on the show before hanging out there. So there's a lot of stuff to do. Other tiers of the Patreon, well, the first tier also gets you access to our a little bit of a first look at our comic that I'm working on, based on my novel Superworlds and the Coat Wars, which is a collection of short stories set in the same setting as Superworlds. A couple books that I've published, and we're working on a comic book adaptation. So we've got a little bit of the concept art We usually try to upload one every week. I'm not sure if one's uploaded today because we've been kind of behind on getting some of the updates. But I know my artist is working on it, so I'm not worried. We just got to get an update. He's just also got a day job. So another reason to show us support on the Patreon is to help pay for that so that way he can do the art full time and give us a reason to really push for more updates. But if you select if you select the second tier, so the first tier gets you all that. Second tier though gets you access to our YouTube content a week before it's uploaded to YouTube. So anything that's like YouTube, that's not usually a podcast live stream.
Yeah.
And I've actually been actively doing that again because it's been a while. I took a hiatus, as we all remember, if you've been here for a while. But I'm back with YouTube content. I've kind of cut it down on how many how many let's plays I'm doing, because I was playing more than 7 games, which means, yeah, that's a lot of games, and I was doing 3 video uploads a day.
Yeah.
At the time when I finally took my hiatus, I'm back to kind of just doing 1 video a day.
Yeah.
So, this will count as the video for today, for Saturday. But if you want to see what's coming up, say tomorrow, a week from tomorrow, you can, because nothing's going to come up tomorrow yet. But if you want to see what's coming up a week from tomorrow, join the Patreon. And you can also see what's coming up Monday, because this past Monday is when I started re-uploading again, and so basically Monday, you'll get an advanced look at. You'll have, like, if you sign up now, you'll have Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday. You'll have 5 videos that you can look at before they're uploaded. So some benefits to that, and the second tier is only $5. First tier is $1. And so that $1 gets you a good bit even before you start getting free YouTube content a week before. I mean, I look at YouTube content before it's uploaded. $5 gets you the YouTube content, and then $10 puts you where Jennifer is. I think there's some other stuff. I can't remember what $10 exactly gives, but there's some extra benefits to $10. And if you get high enough, maybe. So I'm kind of upset, and we learned something upsetting this week, and it's the loss of the Old Republic RPG archives.
Oh, yeah.
So our Old Republic campaign, unfortunately, a year's worth of audio, essentially.
It's missing.
It's not missing. It's gone. It's gone. I'm just being brutally honest here, because so I ran out of room on my external hard drives. And so I was like, well, I'll put them on. So I had the school Google Drive for South.
Yeah.
And I've had it for years.
Yeah.
So because I didn't check in at one point fast enough, they deleted my account. And I didn't know I had this email that said, hey, just let us know you're still actively using it, or else and delete some files, essentially, is what they said. They said, you have too many files you need to delete because we're cutting back on, because they no longer were doing unlimited data on the archive. And so I didn't see that email in time. And so unfortunately, poof. Everything gone. Now, there might be some files on the other computer that I have, but
Yeah.
I doubt it.
I was like, maybe.
I think I'm 90% sure it's gone. Like, because I don't even have them here. Like, I have pictures of characters and ideas and, like, some SWTOR MMO gameplay to kind of inspire me of what the script would be, but I don't have anything from. So we might be rebooting that
series.
Be
resetting the timeline a little bit.
But the other idea is, I think I kind of want to do some other ideas. I want to go further back in the timeline. And I've wanted to for a bit. We tried to do the Tales of the Jedi campaign, but I actually want to go even further back than that.
Damn.
I want to go Dawn of the Jedi. I want to do a Dawn of the Jedi campaign.
Okay.
But I think
Uh,
we'll stick. So with Tales of the Jedi, I think the mistake is we tried to do. I like the Saga Edition
Yeah.
rules, and we tried to do that, but I don't think it.
It
I don't think
mixed
it worked.
well.
I don't think it worked well for the people that we were playing with.
I see.
Like they liked it because it was closer to D&D, since they're better at D&D.
Yeah.
But they are also used to the Fantasy Flight system at that point,
Yeah.
and so.
That may be my fault.
And I don't blame. I don't blame you. That's my fault too, because I got you into the Fantasy Flight system.
Yeah.
What
was the thing Andrew said? It's simple, but it's complicated.
Yeah. And so I also think that I don't know. I think some of our players weren't as invested in the story as they originally claimed to be. Like once we started playing it, they were like, "Oh, I'm not invested."
This is not.
But then they didn't tell me like what they wanted really, and like it was like pulling teeth.
Yeah.
So we'll figure out the players for it. I know for sure Constance is waiting for a Star Wars game.
God.
So we'll get Constance in. We'll probably get Dustin in.
Yeah.
Can't get Jared, unfortunately, because he moved.
Yep.
So probably won't get Jeff because he's busy, usually.
I could try and convince Andrew, but I'm not.
Andrew might do it
Andrew probably would.
because he was a little bit easier to get into.
Yeah.
I think Andrew was enjoying where the story was going.
Yeah. What was the...
I don't want to say who on air wasn't that because I don't
Yeah,
want to
no.
badmouth anybody on air. In this case, because
He was pretty close. Andrew was being pretty close to president of Evil Is Me.
yeah, so I think he was enjoying it. I think Tori mostly enjoyed it. She just didn't like having to go to my house for it. Which, if we could find a way to set up our recording setup, like our live stream setup at your place, that'd be great.
If I could just clear off a table.
Well, we got the new tables
we have
now.
The tables.
We got the new tables for it.
It's true.
So we could do it there. The only problem is a few house rules that. Well, there might be some stuff that like I wouldn't want to have on the live stream that we do in a normal session at your place.
Yeah. That is true.
Which I think Drew can mostly work with because he didn't care when we were playing at my place. Like he seemed chill about it, but I know that it might be a little bit of a struggle.
Yeah.
But yeah, so that's something to look forward to actually because I might work on that.
All right.
I also want to do Grim Hollow really badly.
That too.
But I think we'll do Star Wars first because we need a Star Wars game. We need a Star Wars game. It's been over a year. It's been over 2 years.
So long.
Because let's see, the last time we played was when COVID started.
Yeah.
So it's been 2 years.
Just going around and Batmaning the shit out of people.
So it's been 2 years. We need a Star Wars game, and we'll do it live. We'll do it live.
Just be.
Because then we don't lose audio because I don't have to edit anything, so we're doing it live.
Old man Jedi.
The other thing to figure out is what day to do it. That's the hard part. Because it has to be a day we can consistently play and consistently be live.
Yeah.
I feel like Saturday the time we had worked, but now it doesn't because now I'm part of a game that's at that time.
Yeah. We'll talk about it.
Yeah, we'll talk off air.
Yeah.
So let's go ahead and thank the rest of our partners, though.
Yeah.
So we'll thank Mobcast Network, which we brought up earlier in the show.
Mm-hmm.
They provide the little space for us. They have their own podcasting network that I'm a part of, and I produce for them and co-host. They do Cult Movie Cantina, where they talk about older movies. Currently on hiatus, but I think the new season's going to be starting pretty soon after. I think we're going to do 2 more weeks of break. I think we get this week, and then because of the wedding, and then 1 more week.
Yeah.
And then we'll be coming back. And then
Tuesdays with Scotty,
which is also on hiatus.
Yeah.
That's more of a whenever we get enough in the backlog, we'll start filming. We'll start releasing, rather. And then the other one is My Star Wars Life, currently doing Andor Days. We are a few weeks behind because we did do an episode 4 video, but we had some mic issues. That mic unfortunately has a little bit of a short in it on like the connector, and so we are getting a replacement for it. So we are a few episodes behind. So we'll probably do 4 and 5 together on the same day, and then probably 6 and 7 is probably what's gonna happen. But we'll like release them on separate days. It's probably yeah. Because that's basically what we did for 1, 2, and 3. We did 1 and 2 on the same day, but we did Monday released 1 and Tuesday we released 2, and then 3 and yeah. I think that's how we're gonna do it.
Okay.
I don't know though, because that's a Scotty decision. The other thing other people we want to thank is Gamers and Geeks who Mobcast Network rents the space from. It's our local gaming shop. They have D&D, Warhammer, Pokemon, Magic, all the game. I mean, they also got traditional board games and non-traditional board games. They got whatever you want. There's an arcade in the back that you can pay $10 for the day, and it's all like free play arcade. So you just hit the button to start it, and you get your little day pass. And then next to them is Engage Gaming, which is a little shop. It's basically you pay a membership fee or you don't, and you just pay a rental to by the hour to play on their consoles. They got Xbox, PlayStation, PC, VR. So it's a good way to, if you can't afford a console or a game, they provide it. You just pay the hourly rate. And if you're a member, if you pay the membership fee for the month, you get a reduced fee essentially on the hourly. And I think that's everything I can think of. Did you want to talk about your thing yet?
No, because it's not done.
Okay.
But I am working on it.
Well, I mean, you could have announced it anyways, even if it's not done. But yeah. Okay. So we'll talk about it when he gets closer then.
Yeah.
I'm excited though, because he told me last week off screen what it was. I'm excited.
Yeah.
But yeah, thank you all for watching. Be sure to like and subscribe to the channel, and we'll see you guys next week live.
Yeah.
I have spoken.
Later.